guitar thing. It's just not me.
Yeah.
That's not in any way detracting from the fact they are fine musicians. It's just not my particular style of music. But when I heard those two tracks, I really enjoyed those very, very much. Yeah.
One of the famous urban myths is that Jimmy Page plays the guitar solo on the Kinks. You've Really Got Me. Any truth behind that story?
No, it wasn't. It was actually Dave Davis did that session. In fact, I may be wrong, but I don't recall Jimmy Page being on that session at all. But I may be wrong. My memory's not what it was, and after 40 or 50 years, it's hard to remember who did what. But I certainly know that it wasn't Little Jim on guitar at all on that one. He did do quite a few Kinks sessions, but he never really played solos. It was always Dave Davis, as far as I know. I think he was used on that mainly because Shel Talmy, the producer of the Kinks, used to use him. I think he did one or two of the Who sessions and David
Can't
Bowie.
Explain, I think.
Yeah. And it was almost every producer, when they said, "Oh, who can I use today on this group session?" and immediately it would be Jimmy Page, Jim Sullivan and Bobby Graham. We would just put in there because they were the names that came straight into their heads, I suppose.
And you could deliver. I mean, by your track record, they must have known that you'd always deliver on time, and it'd be good music.
Well, I know Jimmy was certainly on the first Kinks session we ever did, and that was Long Tall Sally. And Jimmy Page was definitely on that. I remember Jimmy being on that session. That flopped, that didn't do anything at all. And Pye gave Shel Talmy an ultimatum that they had to come up with the next one, had to be a hit or they were out. And they tried You Really Got Me in different ways, none of them which worked. And Ray Davies had this thing in his head that he wanted it a certain way, and he convinced Pye Records to finally re-record it all again and do one more session, and that was the one that came out. The other things like All Day and All of the Night, again, I think Jimmy was on some of those sessions as well. So I enjoyed very much working with the Kinks because their songs were never boring. I always found their songs so interesting. Ray Davies is such a fine songwriter. And Dave as well, Dave Davis, is a blooming good guitar player. He's very underrated.
You don't really hear about him a lot.
No, and it's a shame because he really, he was quite a wild little animal. Dave.
Well, he sounds a lot like Jimmy, so I guess as Jimmy became so famous, it was plus that urban myth that Page is playing the solo. What about the drum introduction? Because that's quite unique and really sets the song up very well.
It's just it was a flam. It's called a flam. Clump. That's all it was. Nothing more than that. And everyone raves about it, and I've never figured out why. Because it's just a clump. It's a drum beat.
Was it at the end of the day that you recorded it and you were exhausted or something?
I don't remember, to be quite honest. For years I've had it locked in my brain that we recorded that at Pye No. 1 studio, and it wasn't. It was done at a studio in Portland Place. So I really don't remember this much about the session at all. A lot of the stuff we did record down at Pye with the Kinks. It was done down there. Why we did it at the studios in London, I don't know. There must have been a reason why. Maybe Pye Studios were booked and they wanted to get it done, so used an outside studio. No, that drum intro thing, I did have some sort of complicated thing I was going to do in a massive fill-in with, and for some odd reason they started that riff off, da-da-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-da-da, and I think it caught me on the hop a little bit. I wasn't quite ready, so I just went clack, and that was it, and it became a sort of trademark thing, I've had people say to me, "Oh, it makes the hairs stand up on my neck."
It works for me.
I just went cluck. I just got in time.
No, it's a whole song is wonderful.
It is great.
Everything
song,
works on it.
Great feel. And it was lovely because Ray Davies rang me. This was about 5 years ago now. Rang me up, and I hadn't seen him or heard from him for years and years and years. And he asked me to come and re-record You Really Got Me with him. Wow. At the Conch Studios, which is owned by the Kinks. And what he'd done is he recorded it at his one-man show. I think it was done in Australia. And he brought the tapes back and overdubbed stuff onto it. And it was so nice to hear his voice after all those years. And Ray has never changed, you know. He said, "Hey man, it's Ray here." Ray who? Ray Davis. "Hello Ray, how are you?" "Yeah man, I'm all right, yeah. Do you want to do You Really Got With Me with me again?" I thought it was somebody winding me up. Yeah. But I went there when we did it, and it came out on his album, The Storyteller.
Yeah, well, he must rate you. I know when I first met Jimmy Page recently, I mentioned to him that I was friends with you, and he said, "Well, Bobby was a very fine drummer indeed, and was very impressed with your ability to work your way around the kit."
That's nice of
in the session.
Can't do it now. I fall off the drumstick.
How many sessions do you think the two of you worked on together in total?
I'll be honest with you, I couldn't tell you. I know for a fact that somebody researched around 15,000 titles that I had worked on, and certainly Jimmy would have been on a vast percentage of those. But it is believed that it's probably nearer 40,000 titles that I did over the years in various countries with various artists and things. It wasn't just in the UK, I was doing sessions all over the place. And so we will never ever know, because it was like a production line, it was like a factory. And trying to remember these sessions now is just, they're gone in the midst of time. I don't remember some of the names of the artists even. And yet I have people that send me stuff. I've got a guy in Italy who sends me stuff that I haven't heard of since we did the sessions. Where he finds them from, I do not know. "This is you again, Bobby, I'm sure it is." And I listen to it, and sure enough it is. And I don't even remember the name of the artist. He tells me the artist is, where it was recorded, what date, what times. How do these people find this information? I think they even know what colour socks I was wearing. It's weird. It really is strange sometimes.
Did Jimmy Page